Ooh, what's up, Internet? My name's Nerdy.
And I'm Clarus.
And this is our spoiler chat for Halo Episode 3. It's a bit late because we have COVID. If we're coughing, sorry about it, but we get nerdy nightly.
And we thought we'd share it with you.
That is right. Welcome back to the channel for another spoiler chat. Another late one, just like the Moon Knight episode that went up a few hours ago. But it was a long week for us. And when you're sick, what you want is for your television shows to deliver. You want them to, like, feed your soul. And, you know, we liked episode 2 of Halo more than episode 1. We said last week that things were headed in the right direction. So did episode 3 feed your soul in the right way?
They completely undid everything that I thought they had been saving in episode 2. Yeah, it went like episode 1, like it was a roller coaster nosedive. And I'm upset about it.
Yeah, this episode sucked.
Yeah, it sucked. It opens with the most uncomfortable scene I have probably ever witnessed on television. And you made me watch that weird TikTok thing that we reacted to. So that's saying a lot.
No, that was worse. That sex scene from the Netflix show Brand New Cherry Flavor is worse.
I'm teasing. This. That is worse. But this was so weird because we get our, like, villain's backstory, our blondie girl.
McKee, I think her name is.
Yeah, I'm not.
The problem is
sure.
we've been introduced to her in, like, the Covenant language, so it's hard to understand.
I'm like, I need someone to say her name for me to grab onto it. But yeah, we're on this planet that is basically covered in what looks like garbage and, like,
it's a waste processing plant. So, like, basically they have child slaves.
Yes.
Who and, like, this
we're
is
sorting
I want to be
garbage.
clear. I do not remember this from the Halo lore. But
yeah, these, like, children are sorting through the garbage piles and
to sort out recycling.
I guess,
like, at least they recycle.
At least they recycle. And so we cut to these,
like... sorry to cut you off, but, like, I would rather we don't recycle than have child slaves, and I'm gonna take that brave position.
That's a brave stance.
Brave stance.
Brave stance. You might get canceled.
You would think that with all the technology the UNSC has, they would have, like, AI trash sorters. Like, why would you
They would have Star Wars robots?
It seems like children would be the least effective tool to do this.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, even if slavery was, like, legal, which I don't think it ever will be again, even in a world where that were true, it just feels like this would be the least like, you would get the
least lucrative and, like, the
least proficient.
Efficient, yeah.
Efficient, yeah. This would be the least efficient way to do the task. Yeah. And so it just makes it extra weird that the show was like, we're just going to introduce child slavery at the beginning of the episode because that'll be fun.
Yeah. So basically we cut to these two children who are, like, kind of hiding, but not really in a hiding place. They just aren't being seen by anyone.
They're sitting reading a book.
Yeah, reading
because one of them can read. Because I guess whatever.
Yeah, learn how to read somehow. And they're reading a book. I don't know. It's a kind of fairy tale, I think.
Yeah, about angels.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
they talk about oh God, there was a word.
Kissing.
A something woman. No. Like
I don't know.
They're like a, and she's like, what's a something? Oh, I can't remember the word now.
Yeah. It was like oh God, what was it? It was a word that doesn't mean beautiful, but he was like, it means beautiful. And I was like, no, it doesn't. What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was...
Oh, I think it was like untamed.
Oh.
What does untamed mean?
Something
and he was like, oh,
that,
beautiful.
Yeah.
And I was like...
Yeah, I was like, okay?
I guess that they were trying... I think the writers were trying to hammer home that these were slaves, so they don't know what untamed means.
I guess. It was so weird. And then the kids lean towards each other.
No, that's not what happens. The boy reads the word kiss.
Oh, yeah.
And the girl's like, the boy is like, well, in moments like these, the person should be kissed. And the girl's like, I guess I'll kiss you then. And these are like 8-year-olds.
8 or 9.
And I was like,
they are so young.
And, like, look, do kids do this? Yes. It is weird to me that adults wrote this into a show.
Yeah.
And then, and like in a show about kids being kids, I'm fine with it, right? Like if you want to like, I think the movie 13 is weird to watch as an adult, but is an accurate depiction of how some 13-year-olds' lives are. So like it makes sense that they go all the way. This show is not about these children, and so it is very weird that adults got together in a room and are like, yeah, we're gonna have the one boy pressure the little girl into kissing him. We're gonna have the child slave be pressured into kissing the other child slave.
Yeah.
By his reading of a book, and then we're gonna have the little boy get beat to death.
Yeah, he gets hit 3 times and dies, and you're like, okay, because the Covenant beams down. First of all, the Covenant beams down in the middle of things, and people start screaming and running, of course. And so the slavers are like, oh no, well, there's clearly a very scary alien threat, but we're gonna grab children and just start beating them for absolutely no reason.
Baffling.
Like, literally, like, made less than 0 sense. I was like, why? Like, you should either be defending your territory if you are, like, employed by somebody in your security, right? If you,
it just feels like you would have bigger priorities than the child.
Than kicking a child and beating it to death while literally the Covenant is strolling through your garbage yard.
I feel like this episode's gonna get suppressed by YouTube because of what we're talking about, but we didn't write this. The show wrote this. And what's crazy is, like, a group of adults signed off on this.
Yeah, they were like,
there is a writer's room that got together and was like, yeah, you know what? We're going to have the little boy pressure the girl into kissing him, then we're going to beat him to death in front of her so that she can be taken by the Covenant and become a villain. And like, in the previous episodes...
justification. Like, that's what it felt like. They're like, oh, well, she had a bad thing happen to her, so that's why she's going to do a bad thing. Like...
Yeah, but she could have just been saved from, like, a plague or something. Like, they could have done anything. They could have also just, like...
She could have been saved from the plague that took John's planet.
They could have just not shown it.
Yeah.
Like, I would have been 1,000% okay if she was just like, yeah, the Covenant rescued me as a child. Cool. I didn't need to see that happen.
Yeah.
To understand... Like... to understand that it happened I already got that from episode 1.
Yeah.
I never needed to like know the ins and outs of like the one boy she kissed before, like, and that he was beat to death in front of her. That to me, I was like, okay, wow, okay.
Yeah.
You could have just said this in a line and I would have just accepted that it happened. I didn't need to watch it.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's the first scene of this episode.
Yeah. Yeah. First thing that happens. And we were like, what the hell is going on? And I was like, maybe they just had they just weren't thinking this through.
So then there's essentially 3 plots in this episode.
Yeah.
None of them involve Master Chief, the Halo character who is the main character. Who? Master Chief. Oh. None of them involve him fighting anybody. Like, we're in episode 3 of Halo. We're at the end of episode 3, and it has been 2.5 episodes since Master Chief has held a gun. What show are you making? Who is this for? Nobody wanted the political Halo show. What part of the way that the Star Wars prequels were, the response to Star Wars prequels, made you think that people wanted you to insert more politics into Halo?
No, they were like, oh, people really liked that show, Game of Thrones, right? We can do some weird... Like,
even in Game of Thrones, there was more sword combat than Halo has had so far.
That is true.
Halo, the literal, the subtitle of Halo is Combat Evolved. The video game is called Halo Combat Evolved, and so far we have had no combat.
Yeah. It sucks.
I don't get it. I don't know what this show is. Basically, so the 3 plots, basically we have Quan Ha, who wants to go home to join the rebellion.
For some reason, even though she doesn't know how to fight, and is literally useless.
And Soren is like, no, and then she's like, my family's rich, and so Quan Ha basically pulls a Princess Leia on him, and he's like, well, okay, then I'm gonna take you to Madrigal. And I was like, sure. Immediately go back on your promise, but also immediately go back on your promise to Chief.
Yeah.
Like,
Master Chief, who's he? I don't know him. Like,
what was the point? Also, is Soren not really well off?
Looks like it.
Because, like, in the last episode, it seems like he has food, he has drugs, he has alcohol. Like, it just didn't seem like he was the kind of guy that was, like, in desperate need for money.
Yeah.
So much so that he would put a child in harm's way. Like, all of the stuff in episode 2 where I was like, oh, the adults are behaving like adults. They're not putting the child in harm's way. They're not...
Out the window.
Thrown out the window. The next episode. And every episode of this show, weirdly wants to, like, because episode 1 introduced that, like, Master Chief has to take care of this girl, and then episode 2 that Quan Ha's now out of danger because Master Chief did the right thing and got her out of danger. And episode 3 is putting her back in danger, and so the show isn't moving forward. It's just flip-flopping back to the, like, opposite of the last episode.
Yeah.
So that's the dumb Quan Ha storyline. I think that there are going to be a lot of people who complain about the Quan Ha storyline with a, like, sexist, racist bent.
Oh,
and I
sure.
want to be careful not to do that, because I don't have a problem with the fact that there are people of color who have been added to the universe, and I know that there's going to be that backlash from that part of this online community, right? I don't want the problem to be that she's, like, a woman lead character in a Halo show.
No.
I want to be very clear.
I
have no problem with those two things.
Yeah.
I have a problem with the fact that she is told to the audience to be a child, and that they are putting her, and the adults are not behaving like adults.
Yes.
That is my only problem with it. I think the actress is doing a good job, but, like, I don't care about the Quan Ha storyline. I don't care about Madrigal. The revolution on Madrigal does not matter because the Covenant are here.
Yeah, and that's the problem, is that she's, like, freaking out because she's like, this guy who betrayed my dad and he's taking over. It's like, what the hell are you gonna do about it? Like, literally, like, you...
What benefit are you to the rebellion?
No, you have no training, you have no influence, you have no connection, you have no money. Like, I don't understand how you are going to make the situation better.
Well, and arguably she made the situation worse, because she wouldn't play ball with the UNSC.
Yeah.
And if she had played ball with the UNSC, maybe she could have helped influence who was installed on her planet. But because she rebuked them.
Yeah.
And, like, I'm not saying the UNSC is the right team here. I'm just saying that, like, the UNSC, because they've made the UNSC all monsters, because everyone in the show is bad.
Except, like, Halsey's daughter, maybe?
Who isn't the right... She's not a daughter. Like...
Yeah.
They've made Miranda into, like, something else for some reason. I don't understand what's going on. Anyway, so the Quan Ha storyline is just, it doesn't matter. I just want, Halo. I want Master Chief doing Halo stuff with Cortana. Yeah. We're going to get to Cortana because she's the best part of the episode, but we're going to do her last because, like, let's end with the actual good part of this episode.
Yeah.
The second storyline we'll talk about. Girl, Blondie, McKee, takes a Covenant cruiser to space dead, where it is found by the Gladius. The US and the UNSC Gladius.
Sure, yeah.
She pretends to be dead in the water. And at this point, I'm like, oh, she's
smart. She's gonna, like, infiltrate and try and, like, learn information here because she's a human and she can pass. So this makes total sense.
Well, and this will get her into UNSC space.
Exactly.
And she'll get, like, on a human transport to Madrigal. It'll make sense.
Yeah.
So the UNSC has a drone go pick her up and come back.
Yeah.
They don't scan that drone. There's nothing on board that drone that picks up the fact that it picked up multiple people.
People? I mean, yeah. I don't know about people, but, like,
multiple
mass.
life forms.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so
like,
she comes...
Organic matter.
Yeah, so it's the worms that make up the hunters in Halo.
They make up the hunters.
So the hunters are basically these, like, hulking brutes with big arm cannons and big shields. They're some of the harder enemies in Halo.
And they're made of worms?
They're made up of the body's just a collection of worms that are
psychically linked.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
And so rather than have them in one of those suits, they're in this scene, they are freestanding, killing everybody.
Okay.
They're just working together. It's cool, except for the fact that she's clearly with them and no one shoots at her.
Yeah.
And also, she walks in slow motion as all of these Marines are murdered.
Yeah.
By these worms who are not that dangerous without the armor. Like, these Marines should be able to shoot at them because they're in front of them.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of worms. But none
the
of the
drone
worms...
did notice that there was hundreds. Like, there's enough worms to take over this entire cruiser.
In a matter of, like, seconds.
A full capital ship is taken out by... a drone's worth of worms? Yeah. In what world? It just makes no sense. And then they get to the bridge, and she has energy sword fingernails?
I don't want that manicure.
No, you don't.
I mean, if you can turn it on and off.
What is powering them?
Her electrical patterns.
Okay, yeah. Like, her heartbeat is... like, I
don't know.
The show completely lost me.
Yeah.
Like this, honestly, I don't see how the show could redeem itself from that moment. No matter how good Cortana is, and Cortana's so good. We're gonna talk about her in a sec. But the energy sword fingernail was so stupid.
Yeah.
Was so like legitimately dumb.
It would be like having lightsabers on your fingers, and like, why would you want that? Like,
but why?
Yeah. Why?
Did they give them to her?
Are
they surgical? Are they gloves?
I don't know.
It doesn't look like it. It looks like it looks like it poorly is CGI'd on her finger.
Yep.
Honestly, like, cause it doesn't look right because it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Maybe it does look good. It just my brain can't accept it. But I got so upset in that moment.
Well, because that happens on top of the fact that we thought she was going there to be smart. And she just murdered everybody and didn't get any information out of it.
Which I like that she can get information. This is from the lore.
Yeah.
So in the lore of Halo, basically the Covenant started to glass planets, which they've talked about in the show, but they haven't shown. I want them to show it because I hope that it looks cool. And basically, UNSC ships weren't allowed to keep information on how to get home on board in case that they were captured. And so UNSC ships, when they would travel in space, would like... They have like faster than light travel.
Yeah.
And they would beam like 3 or 4 times randomly before they would be allowed to go back to Reach to try and keep the location of the planet Reach and the planet Earth secret from the Covenant. Mm-hmm. And so when she hacks into the computer, there's no information there. And as someone who loves the lore of this universe, I really appreciated that they got that right.
Yeah.
And I actually so like good job on that. You just messed
thing.
up the immediate scene before that with this. I guess it's so that she can fight Chief in a later episode with her fingernails. But, like, do you really want to watch Master Chief get clawed at? Like,
no.
Is she enhanced? Is she going to be able to go... Are they going to put her physically toe-to-toe against Chief? Because that's going to look absurd.
Yeah. Yeah, especially if he's in the armor. Like, yeah. Yeah, and so that storyline also felt very much short, other than that slight redeeming glimmer at the end. She was an idiot. She could have definitely infiltrated and been smart. And instead she was like, you know what? Nah, I'm just going to murder everybody. So that was... Yeah. But we got a worm action scene, so whatever. Our third storyline is... easily
as dumb as everything else. It just introduces some great stuff.
Yeah. I think
this story gets so stupid.
Yeah.
So they put Cortana in Chief.
Yes.
By killing a clone of Halsey.
Yep.
By sucking out part of her brain... so that they can input Cortana into Chief's brain. Yeah. Not into his suit, the way that it is in the lore. Not into, like, a chip that he can, like, take off and put back in. No, it is in his brain.
He can never have sex or masturbate without Cortana knowing now.
I mean, he wouldn't feel it anyway, so... because of the pellet that he cuts out his back. We're going to get to Chief's butt in a second here. But then Cortana is able to, like, manifest in the room...
Yeah.
But she is a manifestation that is coming from his body?
Yeah, from his brain.
Like, how? It doesn't make any sense. In the game, he holds up his hand, and she is projected by his glove.
Oh, okay.
And so she stands out of his hand.
Okay.
And so when you're first person, you're in the visor, or he'll like put her in a pedestal and she'll come out of the pedestal, right? It's how it's functioned in the games. And it always makes sense because his glove has these little dots on it. And you're like, oh, it's like his glove is somehow projecting her into space.
Yeah, I buy that.
Totally buy it. It's really cool. In this, no, she is like a life-size person that is projected out of his body?
Well, and that was like one of the first things I think I said to you is I was like, wait, where is she coming from?
Like, I thought in the room maybe it was like holo projector or something, but then they go into another room.
She can do it anywhere.
And the other Spartans are like, is she coming out of you? And he doesn't have an answer. And so I was like,
I'm uncomfortable.
So like, clearly this in the games, the technology just exists. Mm-hmm. She's an AI. She doesn't need to be made from a human brain. Mm-hmm. She's an AI. There's no reason for a human clone to be killed in this. Also, flash cloning is... Anyway. It is so baffling to me that Chief can project her into space with his cells, no matter what he's wearing. Including when he is fully naked.
Yeah.
In the bathroom.
We not only got to see Master Chief's face, we got to see his ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like
you were not expecting that.
Thanks to like a very convenient line in the mirror, we weren't able to see his dick, but like we would have seen the reflection of his dick if not for that. We see Chief fully nude, trying to cut his pellet out. He does, because Halsey, so despite the fact that Cortana is in Chief's brain, which she has to be in his brain because he is fully nude in the shower.
Yep.
Halsey is connected to her still.
Yeah,
which means that, like, Chief is now Wi-Fi 6 enabled or something.
I don't.
Right? No, but seriously, Chief has to both be projecting a physical manifestation of Cortana and also projecting, like, a radio signal back to Halsey so that Halsey can talk to Cortana through Chief's brain, which is now an antenna.
It was the vaccine. They got their fourth booster.
Their fourth booster.
Yeah, they got the fourth booster, so obviously.
This is nuts. This is so weird. So then he cuts his thing out. He is a recent war criminal at this point.
Yep.
Like, he is only recently allowed back. And then he's like...
And only because they put Cortana in.
They put Cortana in him, and then I guess there's no restrictions on him anymore because he just leaves and goes to a concert.
Yeah. He's just walking around. He's like, oh, wow, these people are playing music. Oh, my God, escalators. What?
He's on an escalator, and she's like, you've never experienced this before. And he's like... I'm moving, but I'm not moving. It's like, dude, you can jump 500 feet in the air. Like, the idea that an escalator would be so shocking is so weird.
I know.
You have flown through space at faster than light speeds, and you're like, this escalator is wild.
It's tripping me up, dog. Like, he's so high. He can't understand how it works, I guess. Yeah.
Well, and then he goes to this concert, and I turned to you, and I was like, is this Star Trek Next Generation? Like, what are we watching? Yeah. So at this point, they're just letting him do whatever, because I guess they trust him now.
He's cool.
I don't know.
He's a bro.
So then Halsey keeps being like, just do whatever you need to do, Cortana, to, like, so that he trusts you.
Yes.
So that he doesn't find out that I turned his brain into a radio.
And that I am here and listening at all times.
Yeah, which is... Yeah. So, we forgot to mention that when Cortana is made, the freaking assistant goes to kiss her body before she dies.
Yeah, it was so weird. First of all, I mean, the cloning thing, awkward anyways. But her, like, weird assistant dude is like...
With like, the same weird closed mouth kiss.
Yeah,
so like, much so that I was like, are they trying to say that this boy is the same guy from the Trash Planet?
That would be really weird. But yeah, I was like, what?
If they do that, we riot.
Oh my God. No. It was so awkward and unnecessary and weird. And
but also, you would assume there's a video camera of this very important... You would assume that Halsey would record everything. Like, you would assume there is... If she is willing to put a tracker in Chief where she can see through his eyes, she has video of everything that happens in her lab. And that man knows that she has video of everything that happens in her lab.
He's not dumb. Yeah, like
it is insane to me that they thought that this made sense. Whoever wrote this episode is into weird kisses and shouldn't write for this television show.
Yeah, maybe take a class.
And it just sucks because I didn't hate episode 2. I thought episode 2 was headed in the right direction, and then this was bad.
This was just so bad and all over the place.
Well, and now the end of this episode is Chief touches the relic a few times, and he realizes there's another larger relic that the smaller relic fits into, and so he's gonna go back to his home planet, which is a dead planet where there are no people.
Yeah.
And so... Because
there was a plague.
I hope the Covenant show up there, or else we're going to have another episode next week where there's no fighting. Yeah. I need you to make a Halo show. And I don't know what the hell this is, but it's nonsense. Yeah. This show is literal nonsense.
Yeah. Cortana is cool, though.
Cortana's amazing. She sounds so good.
Yeah, like she's so fun, and I'm not a Halo gamer, but like I love the sassiness and that, you know, she has a personality and it's not just like an AI spy thing, but like that she feels real and realized. But that is just, I think that's just from the games, right? Like I don't give the show any credit for that.
For me, it is the voice actor from the games.
Yeah.
So for me, it's just very it hits really hard.
Yeah.
And like it makes it tougher. I was okay with Chief not sounding like Chief.
Yeah.
Because the world was very different. And now that I have Cortana's voice, I want Chief to sound like Chief because half of the show sounds right now.
Right.
And the other half doesn't.
Yeah.
It was easier to... I didn't mind the Chief voice until Cortana spoke. And now I do. Because now I'm like, oh, you're not Chief anymore.
Yeah.
Like, and also just him being naked for no reason. And him not behaving like a soldier at any point in the show.
Oh, yeah, no. He does not seem like he's an indoctrinated soldier at all.
Yeah, and I don't know.
He's just doing whatever the heck he feels like it. And, like, that's not... It is weird to me, even having, like, not really played the game. So I'm like, this just feels off. The only person who's really, like, who as a character I'm even remotely interested in and I think is smart is Halsey. Halsey is very complicated, and I find that interesting. But with all the other, like, garbage in the show, I just, like, there's no... Like, this one I would definitely stop watching. If it was just me, like, I would...
Yeah, if we weren't doing this, I think I would stop as well, because it almost hurts.
Yeah.
Watching this thing I love so much just be so poorly written.
Yeah.
And uncomfortable. Like, honestly, if you took out the 2 uncomfortable kisses from this episode, it would be much easier to watch. But, like, they were so uncomfortable and so logical that, like, it just it makes it worse. And also, like, just like the random nudity, like the McKee being naked in the last episode for no reason. Yeah. And then Chief, like, the show, like, doesn't want to exist at an adult intelligence level, but it wants to have adult things in it.
Yeah.
And so it just makes everything feel off.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, it's really bad.
I mean, like, look, I'm going to be real honest with you. Back when like, Halo 2, Halo 3 days, when I was a little teenage boy reading fan fiction, there were better fan fictions for Halo than this show.
Yeah.
They could have just ripped them off.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that you should steal, but, like, if you can't write and you get Halo, steal so that the show's good.
Yeah.
I can't believe she has energy sword fingernails. Like, what the hell?
I don't know what to tell you on that one. Sorry.
I don't know, y'all. I don't know. I'm lost on this one. I liked the trailer so much.
I know.
I thought we were headed in such a good direction. And then I didn't hate episode 2. I was like, okay, this is better.
Yeah, I was like, oh, maybe they're just going to have a rough pilot, and then we're going to see some growth, and it'll be cool. And no, they like I said, undid all the good graces that we gave last week, and it's bad.
The character of Master Chief is defined by his unwavering ability to survive and continue to pursue his objective for the betterment of all mankind. Mm-hmm. That is the central motivating factor of this character.
Yeah.
And it only gets broken by how much he develops this kinful relationship with Cortana after many missions together.
Yeah.
And the moment where he slips for a moment in Halo 3 and then in Halo 4, those moments where he does that for Cortana are earned because it is a different character. It is a different thing than he's ever done before at the point in the series. They are not setting up the beginning of this character to earn any of those moments later. Him slipping as a soldier, they do in the first episode.
Yeah.
And so there's nothing interesting for them to do with Chief now because they did the most interesting thing with him first.
Yeah.
And so now when he behaves like a soldier, it's going to be weird.
Yeah.
And so they never got the character right at the beginning, and so they can never do anything interesting with the character at the end. And that, to me, is the greatest disappointment of the show. It's like, what do you do with Chief here?
I couldn't.
He's a mess.
Yeah.
He's different in every episode. He's written different in every scene because it's so, what do we need for this ridiculous situation?
Yeah.
He wavers between completely oblivious to everything going on around him to, like, clairvoyant to over the top angry, and he has nothing in between.
Yeah.
He is not portrayed to be very intelligent. He is, he has the same complaints I have about Nynaeve, where she's so open about how she's feeling that everyone would know what her ulterior motive would be.
Yeah, yeah.
He has the same problem. And so it's really disappointing. Episode 3 of the show, like, I don't know. I don't know how this got made. I don't know how they spent so much money on this, and no one sat around going, hey, maybe don't have the kids kiss. That's weird.
Yeah.
And maybe don't have that scientist try and kiss the body he's about to kill.
Yep.
That's
that was
weird. It's very weird. And like it doesn't add anything to the show except this, like, oh, really, I guess
awkward ew moment.
You did that. Congrats.
Yeah. No, I hated it.
Oh, what a disappointment.
Yeah.
If you like this video, like and subscribe to the channel. If you don't, we understand. I have a feeling that these Halo videos are going to start to drop in views. I think people are going to stop watching the show.
Yeah, people are going to be like, nah.
But if you want to come back and watch me, don't watch the show. Just come back and watch the spoiler chats and watch as I surely will continue to just dissolve in on myself as they butcher my boy. My sweet, sweet, sweet boy. Much like 343 Industries butchered my boy when they took over the franchise from Bungie. Sorry, y'all. I was playing Halo. I'm still trying to beat Halo Infinite. It's been a slog to get through because I'm going to have a full review of that game up too. I'll just say it's not quite as disappointing as this episode of the show. It's not very good. But we'll get to that in another video. For now, you can follow us around the internet. I'm at Nerdy Nightly.
I'm at Claris Polaris.
And as always, y'all, do something nerdy tonight.